Mr. Silly's silly secret. If you have ever been to Nonsense Land, you'll know it is full of silly-looking houses. But the silliest one belongs to Mr. Silly. A bright sunny day. Lovely weather for a walk into town. I think I'll take a bus. But he didn't wait at the bus stop. No, he waited at a lamppost. Here comes a bus now. You want to travel on a bus, Mr. Silly, please wait at a bus stop, just like all the other Mr. Men do. But Mr. Silly isn't like all the other Mr. Men. Maybe there was another way to travel. A silly way. Suddenly, he had a great idea. I must hurry home and get to work. Miss Helpful was out walking when she heard some strange noises coming from Mr. Silly's garden shed.
Hello, Mr. Silly, is that you? Gosh!
What do you think?
It's a brilliant idea. Can I help?
Well...
I could squirt some.
Thank you. Goodbye, Miss Helpful. Mr. Silly went back to work, and he was so busy he didn't hear his next visitor, Mr. Nosy. I say, Mr. Silly! Oh! What are you making? You cannot be serious. How silly! Mr. Silly went back to work, and before long, I've finished. Just wait until everyone sees this. That is the funniest car I've ever seen.
It's the silliest car I've ever seen.
It may look like a silly car, but he won't have any trouble finding it after he's done his shopping. As Mr. Silly went into the big store, the sun hid behind the clouds and snow began to fall. Meanwhile, Mr. Silly bought a clock that went backwards, a new shower cap, and one Wellington boot. Outside, all the roads were white with snow and all the buses and cars were stuck. They couldn't move. Well, not every car. Mr. Silly's car wasn't troubled by the deep snow, and when he came to the bus stop... Hello! Come there! Anyone want a lift?
I'll take it all back. This is a very, sensible car.
I say Mr. Silly has the last laugh. His silly-looking car isn't so silly after all.
Splendid, yes.
So the same people who had been laughing at Mr. Silly's car now thought it wasn't so silly after all. And so Mr. Silly was the hero of all of Mr. He even had his picture and story on the front page of the newspaper. Silly, Mr. Silly.